insights from research. So what, based on some surveys and some analytics that you and your team have done over the years, what do you want to share with us today?
Well, I think the first thing is that this is not static. You don't sort of build a UX and then sit back and say, that's awesome, I've done
Right.
So one of the things we've done, and we've been running IP-based services for US-based operators now for several years. And what we find is we've actually managed to work with a number of those operators to participate in their consumer surveys. So, not every operator, but many operators will have consumer surveys looking for NPS scores and other reasons to outreach to their subscribers. So what we've managed to do is work with them to overlay a number of specific questions around the app and the interface that we provide as part of that experience, and get some questions added to the surveys. And we've been doing that now for a number of years. As part of that reach out as well, we also ask customers if they would be willing to participate in a further follow-on interview type environment. So obviously that means the person is giving up a little bit more of their time, but they also get the opportunity to explain more what they like and dislike about the interface. So the first thing I think about analysis is it doesn't tend to drop on your lap. I mean, you actually have to go and work hard to get it. It also it tends to change over time. So as we've changed the interface, at the start we were getting some pretty basic feedback. This doesn't work, that does work. We like this, we don't like that. What we're finding now, a number of years later, is it's more nuanced. That this takes a little bit longer than I would like. That last change that you made was really, really good. So we're sort of it feels like we are converging. It also gives us an opportunity to deal with those personas that we talked about earlier and really get a deep and in-depth feeling. If you do a survey and you say, do you like something or do you dislike it? It's very binary. I mean, it can be like or dislike. If you're on a scale of 5 or 10, it's a 7 or it's a 3.
Yep.
But you don't sort of know what's really behind, why did someone score this a 10 and someone else score it a 3? So the ability to have the interviews allows you to find out what's behind the scenes, what really is the problem. Was it the fact that, moving to a Fire Stick was just one step too far for someone that was used to a cable box? Or was it that there's a problem in the application that we need to address? So the first thing I would say is, surveys, research in the UX space is something you have to be very, very proactive about. And we are very pleased that we've been able to partner with many operators to get that sort of feedback. We tie that together with analytics. We also offer quite an extensive set of analytics. And that starts to look at demographics, so who are the audience, who is watching, and we can tie things like who's watching a set-top box, age profile wise versus who's watching a Fire Stick, who's watching a mobile device as well. And that also helps guide us. What we do then is we'll share that information with operators. If we work with a specific operator, obviously we go completely open book and we share all of the details because that's their data about their subscribers. But we can also anonymize information then and sort of say, here are general trends, and share that more broadly across a wider base. Here are the learnings we've seen, this works, that doesn't work, and so on like that. So the whole concept of research sort of is part of our ethos, and we feel it's critically important because this industry is not static. User expectations is not static, and you just got to stay right on top of it.
Absolutely, you have to continue to evolve, and we always pride ourselves in being member driven. Like, we want that feedback, and so you've got to see the big picture, and you're doing that and getting that feedback, but also using the data and analytics that you can pull from the system to validate, okay, what should we be looking at and what's the future? So yeah, I completely agree. Okay, so the last two ones are operator profiles and UX strategy. So I know we covered a lot so far. So if you want to kind of sum up your last thoughts on those couple of things before we wrap up here, that would be wonderful.
Sure, not a problem. So I think from an operator profile perspective, I think I touched on this a little bit earlier. We see broadly two classes of operator that pick up the sort of TV as a service solutions that we offer. The first operator is more of a traditional cable co, perhaps a telco that had a multicast environment, so more of a traditional TV experience. And the other group is someone who's brand new to TV, like an ISP and so on. And I know that, Emily, we've been working pretty hard with you and your team, because today we've talked primarily about a UX and what are the implications of UX. And, and I touched a little bit on the demographics. The traditional is more sort of bedded into that cable co. The new and the modern is a little bit more in the ISP.
Yep.
But if the ISP wants to take subscribers from Comcast Charter, then they got to think that those are going to be traditional subscribers. So there's a little bit of that element in as well. But on the ISP side as well, we think that there's enormous value in a company like Whitepaw, not just on a UX perspective, but also to help them with content. Because a cable TV person, that organization has been doing cable TV for 30, 50 years. They've got experience. They know what works, what doesn't work. They may be frustrated, but they know that business inside and out. An ISP has very little idea about this TV thing, and I think they need help. They need assistance. They need coaching. They're usually super clever people because they're an ISP. They're growing their business. But the dynamics there are a little bit different. So you not only have to think of the UX experience side of things, but also what are the other things that need to be added to the mix.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm a realist, right? Like, I know that video, it comes with a love-hate relationship, a lot of hate sometimes. But the fact is, and what you and I have realized, is that those ISPs that are competing against the Comcast, like you referenced, and other companies that have internet and a video, are going to lose subscribers, or not going to get the penetration rate. And so that's what we're seeing with the solutions that we offer, is those are the companies that want to offer, but to your point, they too don't have the expertise. And so that's where we've created partnerships with yourself, and we can offload all of the pain points and most of the OpEx stuff, operational things that need to be taken care of to us. So we believe in video. Clearly, we're talking about it. We're here. So to your point, I think that it's an interesting time. I mean, as people have said, Gene and I laugh about it. We thought cable was dying, and here we are, I think, busier than ever. So there's definitely an opportunity to get into the space, and you don't have to do it yourself. You just find the partners where your values align, and we're here to help. So thank you so much for taking the time and being our guest speaker. Appreciate all the knowledge that you share. And if anybody has any thoughts or questions for Mick, feel free to drop them, and we will try to address them another time. Thank you.
Thanks all.